We'd like to start by warning everyone that we're not going to sound as smart, anywhere near as smart, when we give a speech that Ben and Jake haven't written every single word of.
Ben and Jake were great leaders. They showed their commitment to the team and the activity by sacrificing a huge chunk of their spring break to go to Atlanta to help out at the Windward tournament. Without them there, none of us could have done nearly as well. Every one of the novices broke and won their first out round.
They've taught us a ton of things about debating the topic rather than skepticism or weird moral theory, that lots of judges aren't huge fans of plan focus, but also small technical things, like how to sell a voter, how to run tea, how to be a shark, how to perm something,
how to intrinsically perm something. But these things aren't what truly matter. What really matters is the inspiration you guys gave us to get better, to work harder, and to cut more cards. But not only did you guys teach us, you were fun about it, teasing and making everything a friendly competition. And of course, whatever one of you said, the other one just had to disagree, no matter who was right.
And we just wanted to thank you for that, and for everything. We honestly can't thank you enough.
So, thanks again.
Alright. So, Jake and Ben have both been so encouraging to everyone on the team, whether it be texting us to find out how we were doing at a tournament, or giving us pep talks before a difficult round. It was always great to know that you guys were there. Both of you were so patient with all of us when we didn't understand an argument or case and took the time to break it down for the rest of us. I've learned so much from watching you guys debate. I was trying to think of the one thing you guys are best at in debate, but let's face it, you guys are good at everything. And I felt sorry, so sorry for your opponents in each round. They must have been shaking in their boots because your reputations preceded you. Despite all of your amazing skills, I unfortunately won't be copying Ben's posture or Jake's loud foot stomping. But I don't think it really mattered that you guys did those things, because the strategies and cases you guys came up with were so intricate and sophisticated. I really don't know what we're going to do next year without you. We're going to have nothing to say. But actually, I'm really looking forward to next year, and will always think back to my first 2 years of debate. And every time I see Ryan Fink next year, another debater who looks exactly like Ben, so much like Ben that he could be his twin, I'll think back to the good times that we had together on the team. And Jake, you may not have a look-alike, but I'll think back about you whenever someone makes a bad analogy about oranges. Both of you have had such a large impact on everyone on the team, and I hope to come even close to following in your footsteps.
Michelle and I would like to speak for the team in congratulating Jake and Ben on their incredible debate careers and thanking them for leading our team the past 2 years. While the numerous plaques and trophies that adorn the case in Seaver and Bietz' new office signal clearly your ability as debaters, we would like to attest to your strength as leaders and examples to all of us who will continue debating after you graduate Harvard-Westlake. I got lost. We'd like to thank both of you for starting the middle school debate team and breathing new life into the upper school team. Without you two, none of us would have discovered debate or been very good at it. We're going to miss you dearly next year, but hopefully you'll still spend hours with us in Courtyard Marriotts across the country as coaches. That was just the intro. Nobody yet.
Just so you two don't argue later about the reason for us choosing to speak about one before the other, we're just going in alphabetical order by first name. You guys can argue about something later, but we just don't want that to be on the list. So Ben. When I first started debate as a 5th grader at Curtis, my debate coach paired me and a friend up with Ben so that we would have an experienced debater on our team as a role model to learn from and to help us win a few rounds to keep our confidence levels high. Even with a debater as incredible as Ben on my team, I was so utterly terrified of public speaking that I managed to butcher every single one of the brilliant points that Ben would present. During one particularly memorable round, I wonder if you'll remember this, at a parlay tournament, our opponent arrived with only 2 out of the 3 speakers because they couldn't even find their 3rd speaker, and used the entirety of their speeches apologizing for the fact that they had never debated before, mixed in with about 5 likes and ums per sentence. I countered with an even less coherent speech, with about a million pauses and ums scattered throughout, and sat down a couple minutes before my time was up, so I still managed to lose us the round. Having grown accustomed to winning just about every single middle school debate tournament, Ben must have been tremendously frustrated losing every single round of the tournament. But if he was, he didn't show it. As the mature 6th grader that he was, he explained to me that he was not at this tournament to win, but instead he was there to teach the younger kids how to learn and love the activity the same way that he did. Throughout high school, Ben's message has always been the same to us. No doubt he was just as competitive as all the other kids on the circuit, but I always admired Ben for his dedication to finding time to share his talent and help out each of us younger debaters. Despite my miserable performance in that middle school tournament that probably convinced him that not even all the coaching in the world could teach me ever to learn how to debate, Ben has been one of the most supportive and constructive teachers I've ever had. I've never been at a tournament without Ben giving his pep talks before each of my rounds, whether he was right next to me or across the country at home, constantly asking for updates and telling me to call if I needed advice. I can't remember how many times when Ben has walked each of us debaters into a round, confidently reminding us that we were simply smarter and better than our opponents, and then offering us that high five that nobody on our incredibly short team would ever be able to reach. Even out of the tournament environment, Ben has proved to be a responsible and patient leader, and I remember at Blake how he carefully explained to Garrett that running around the Mall of America with no cell phone or without any partners was probably not a good idea. Ben, not only have you been a role model as a debater, but also I've learned from you what it means to be a truly supportive teammate and leader, and I can't thank you enough.
Jake, when I walked into our really sweet team lounge at NDCA a couple weekends ago, I remember you learning... sorry, I talked too fast. I remember you leaning intensely over the table, talking to Annie, throwing your fist into your hand, and speaking loudly as if you were arguing with her. Little did I know you were in fact giving coaching advice. As Annie probably remembers vividly, the lesson that Jake was passionately teaching was that when we walk into rounds, you have to be forceful and assertive. You said Harvard-Westlake debaters have to be like sharks hunting bunnies, aggressive, poised to win, and passionate. For me, the lesson was the opposite. You taught me to distinguish between being rude and being assertive in debate, which I credit with helping my speaker points tremendously. With a teammate as enthusiastic as Jake leading the team, it has become impossible for every debater on the team to avoid falling in love with debate the same way he has. We all admired the way Jake produced massive and quality files as if he were his own personal USC policy team, and seen him furiously searching for the perfect answers to uniquest takeouts and for the start DA hours after Ben had decided to call it a night, and then watch Jake pull up the DA months later and read the cards as if they were his own baby or a famous piece of art, which I have to admit it pretty much was. However, this is only one small part of the larger lesson. You've taught us to want to win the right way. I give you credit for making me ashamed of running advocacies that were strategic yet false. Though I still enjoy messing around every once in a while, because of your example, I've come to rely on these cheap shots less and less. This obsession with debating the right way has shaped the team in the way we research, cite articles, and run theory positions aimed at shaping debate in our image. The admirable work ethic Jake has embodied has helped instill in us all, combined with the contagious drive and passion that has spread to each one of us, is a rare and necessary asset that will make a tremendous difference in all of our careers. The legacy you've left with the team is empirical proof that hard work and tireless dedication produces results, and you've inspired us to want to win the honorable way, running frameworks and advocacies that are true, well-researched, and fair. Thanks a lot.
School and high school with both of you, I really can't imagine how tough it's going to be next year. For the first time in 11 years, I won't be able to see you guys regularly at school or at practice thinking about some insignificant case flow. It'll be tough when I don't spend almost every other weekend outside the door of your room in some corridor in Marriott while you guys argue about who it was that lost the room key. Or squished in the middle of the middle seat of the car while Ben tries to convince Jake that plan is actually a good idea. I feel lucky to have had the opportunity to have gotten to know you both so well. And like J-Rob, I would definitely feel comfortable posting on my Twitter, if I had one, that you guys are two of really my closest friends. All of the Harvard-Westlake team will miss you guys tremendously next year, and we cannot thank you enough for the legacy of hard work and the incredible program that you guys have put together. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, you have to go.
Your turn now.
Don't make it an intro.
Jake and I are just going to split up talking about coaches and stuff. So first, by the way, before I begin, I want to thank the Gallagher so much for setting this up. And this is unbelievable. Closer to the mic? I'm going to go closer to the mic. There. Now I'm closer, right? This is good? Okay. First, I'm going to start by putting 2 responses on Tara, 3 on Torson, but I've got limited time, so let's get going. First, I want to thank Coach Tara Norris. It's really remarkable to see this go. I'll slow down. Tara Norris. The thing that's so special about Tara is how she takes young debaters and gives them the skills and the desire to keep going. Debate can be a scary activity, but Tara has a way of making us fall in love with it. She's patient, and she's smart, and she never gives up on any of us. I remember when I was just starting out, and I was sitting on the floor of a hallway in an ugly building at Cal State Long Beach, at the worst-run tournament in America, sitting until the wee hours of this morning, running through my arguments, keeping me calm. For 18 hours she sat with me that day, all the way through the final round, which I lost. And then she gave me a hug and calmly told me why I lost, so that I might lose again, but I would never lose again on exactly that same argument. Tara is the kind of coach who in a moment of success or a moment of failure is always there to sit beside you. Thank you so much, Tara. Please come up and accept a token of our thanks. And then there's Adam Torson. This is a man who, the second time I met him, got in the car and drove me 4 hours from Lexington to Nashville so I could make my plane, and then, in the rain, drove back 4 hours alone. It may seem like a small thing, but that's not. Adam will do anything for us. Fly anywhere, stay up all night, explain an argument again and again that we should have understood the first time. If coaching is a kind of love, Adam Torson's is unconditional and without limit. How do we get so lucky? I mean, who is this guy anyway? He lives somewhere in the middle of North Dakota. He's one of a handful of people who passed the bar there this year because there are so few of them. And what is law in North Dakota anyway? I mean, how many people are there to sue? Who is this prairie lawyer who quotes Jürgen Habermas and John Rawls? If there were enough people in North Dakota, Adam would be 1 in a million. But as it is, he's one in somewhere over 600,000. A man who put his career on hold so he could coach us at a school thousands of miles away. For those of you who don't know, Torson sends out a quote which he calls his classic quotation of the day. And they're meant to inspire us and to spark interesting conversation, but there's this quote from a few months back that Torson didn't realize is really about him. It's a dedication from one of his favorite authors, Hannah Arendt, to her teacher, Carl Jaspers. And she wrote, "What I learned from you and what helped me in the ensuing years to find my way around reality without selling my soul, the way people in earlier times sold their soul to the devils, is that the only thing of importance is not the philosophies, but the truth. The one has to live and think in the open and not in one's little shell, no matter how comfortably furnished it is. What I have personally never forgotten is your attitude, so difficult to describe, of listening. Your tolerance that is constantly ready to offer criticism, but is as far removed from skepticism as it is from fanaticism. Torson, these last few years just wouldn't have been the same without you. Thank you so much. We all love you so much." Jake will talk a little bit more about Bietz, but I can't let him get away with all of that by himself, so I'll say something as well. Someone once described Mike Bietz to me as the Phil Jackson of debate. And for any of you who know basketball, there is no more fitting description. Jackson is famous for his absolute calm, for being the great motivator, the Zen master. Mike Bietz is also a Zen master. Never raises his voice, never gets upset, treats, as Rudyard Kipling would, defeat in the same way that he treats success. He does not tell us what to do, he tells us how to be the best at what to do and what we do. He is not as much a coach as a teacher and a mentor and a friend. And as I've said to him privately and publicly before, if you were a debater at Harvard-Westlake today or at Edina High School a decade ago, he changed your life. He changed mine. And for any of you parents who don't know this, Mike Bietz is like Phil Jackson in one other way. He is by far the most successful and greatest coach in the history of Lincoln-Douglas debate. He is also the kindest. When I think about Mike Bietz, I think about this line from Aeschylus, who once wrote, "God from afar looks graciously upon a gentle master." That's you, Bietz. So before I wrap up and let Jake talk and let people get back to the more thank yous as well, to all the parents here, I want to thank you for all the things that you do for us, but for one thing in particular. There may have been other more successful teams in the history of debate, but I can promise you, no team in history has ever eaten better food than our team. Thanks to Tommy, who was my kindergarten buddy, and Annie, and Michael, and to all the freshmen this year. It's been a pleasure working with you guys and watching all of you grow. The one thing I've heard from judges again and again, and from other coaches as well, is, I can't believe they're only freshmen. And I keep thinking of this quote from the end of the movie, Searching for Bobby Fischer, where the main character, Josh, leans over to his friend and says, "You want to know a secret? I'll tell you a secret. You're much stronger than I was at your age." You guys are incredible. We could not be prouder. And I know both Jake and I feel that way. To Brendan and Son, you're lucky enough to be the only two debaters in your grade, and as Jake and I can attest to, your success will come from your ability to forge an effective partnership. Yours was the first class that Jake and I helped teach as captains, and it was an honor working with you guys. To Adam and Aneri and Nika and all of the juniors, it's been a pleasure being your teammates. A year from now, you too will say goodbye to high school debate. But before that time comes, before you say goodbye, remember to enjoy every minute of it. It goes by too fast. And finally, remember as well that you have each other. Debate is as much a team activity as it is an individual one. To Michelle, it's really been the three of us for a long time now, the three musketeers, you, me, and Jake. And that's been the same way since elementary school, since that first tournament that we had together 7 years ago. You're the Korean sister I never had. I'm really incredibly proud of anything you've done, everything you've done, and every time I hear about your round, I hear about a win you have, I am as excited about your success as I am about my own. To Jake, I spent 8 years talking beside you, and I'm almost at a loss for words now. 8 years, 3 continents, 10 coaches, hundreds of rounds, thousands of hours. Many losses, but many more wins. As a teammate and a friend, I could not ask for anything more. I know I'm a better debater and a better person because I spent those years for you. And we both go off next year to separate schools for the first time in more than a decade. There will no doubt be a feeling of emptiness left by the greatest partner that I could have. Paraphrase John Kennedy, geography has made us neighbors, school has made us friends, debate has made us partners, time and purpose have made us allies, and nothing can undo that knot. Finally, I want everyone to know that it is truly an honor to spend tonight with all of the people that made my debate career possible, and with who, through it all, have been my team and my friends. I'd like to end with a little bit of advice, if I could, some wisdom from the 7 years of debate in the trenches. We often get caught up in results, in wins and losses, in speaker points, and I think in the end that it's important to remember that we're not here tonight to celebrate any single success, but rather a program and a team. And in this past year, we've gone through a huge numbers of ups and downs, and there will be again, when Jake and I are gone, those ups and downs. But debate is not worthwhile because of the trophies. It is worthwhile because of the people you meet, and the things you learn, and the perspectives you gain, and the way that you learn to lose, and the voice you find, and the truth that you seek. And I can't help but think of this old poem by Samuel Hoffenstein. It's called The Grail. Together we have learned where nettles grow, where not the vanished but the living sup. What Galahad enchanted did not know. The Grail is in the seeking, not the cup.
All right, so I'm going to start off by thanking Stephen Babb. I know he's not here, and many of you may not have met him before, but Babb joined us late this year as a coach, and I know he's not here, but he really does deserve some recognition. I think that what separates Babb from a lot of other people is his investment and his genuine caring. There's few people I've met who really care as much as Babb does, and I know that sounds a little bit corny, but it's true that no one is as excited after a win as Babb is. No one is as angry after a loss as Babb is. But it's really not anger. I think anger is the wrong word. That no one is as heartbroken after a loss as Babb is. That he really invests himself not just as a teacher, and not just as a mentor, and not just as someone who's helped construct arguments, but as someone who has invested himself as a friend, as someone who is in a round with you, who wants to win it just as much as you do. I know he's probably eating barbecue right now somewhere in Atlanta, but I still think that we should all take a moment to thank him for all that he's done. So thanks a lot. So I think, as everyone probably knows, I think the debate is an extremely special activity for a lot of reasons. And I think that we are all very lucky to be involved in debate, just anyone who's involved in debate. But I think more importantly, that this is a very special debate team. And I don't think this because of any competitive successes. I mean, I like winning, but that's not the thing. And I don't think that this team is special just because it's full of good friends and teammates, because it is. I really do love you guys. But this team, I think, is special because of an attitude, a mentality, something that defines the way that we act, the way that we strive to carry ourselves, and the manner in which we compete. It's a mindset that comes not from the ground up, that comes not because we are innately better than anyone else, not because we work harder, although I do think we do. It comes from the top. Mike Bietz, you are, as Ben said, the Zen master. But that mentality carries over in a few other ways. I've always thought that win or lose, the members of this team can be proud, because on this team, things are always done the right way. In debate, and really in anything in life, it's pretty easy to cut corners. It's tempting to take the easy way out. It happens a lot. And, as I'm sure Michelle and Ben can attest, it wins a frustratingly high number of debate rounds. But for my very first days on this team, I've been taught time and time again that the easy way out is not acceptable. It's hard work that pays off. From researching an argument to constructing a strategy to answer an opponent's position, from improving one's own skills to working with younger teammates, debaters on this team know that there is no shortcut to genuine success. This team stresses the importance of self-discipline, of individual responsibility, and of thorough preparation. There aren't any gimmicks, free passes, or tricks. And sometimes that means that means that we lose a few rounds that we might have won had we taken the easy way out. But that's a trade that I would never make. Now, it's easy to talk about these kinds of things in the abstract. It's very difficult to put them into practice. And for that, there's no one to thank other than Coach Bietz. Bietz has been a coach for a long time, probably about as long as I've been alive, I'm sure. And he's been involved in debate for even longer. I can't imagine how many students he's coached and I couldn't even begin to list all of the accomplishments of his debaters, although they do include a national championship by my partner Ben over there. Bietz is a special coach because of that mindset that I was discussing earlier. The passion that he brings to every school he works at, every team he leads, and each and every student that he coaches. Bietz is also famous for his ability to find the absolute best food in any city in the country. Most impressively, I think, is in Kansas City last summer when Bietz took us to the Gates Barbecue, which on the way home from the restaurant, on the radio, a song started playing about the very restaurant that we had just eaten. So either he is the world's best restaurant guide, or he has ins with the radio stations in Kansas City, and it was just an elaborate prank. I'm not really sure which it is, but either way, thank you, Bietz. Back to the serious stuff. Earlier this year, Bietz received an award for his coaching achievements. The award was presented to him by 3 of his former debaters, who also happen to be 3 of the most successful debaters in history. And I'm not going to bore you with all of the accomplishments that they had, and all of the stuff that people introduced the award for. And part of the reason why Bietz won the award was competitive success. I want to talk about the more important reason he won the award, which is contributions to the debate community and excellence as a coach, not in terms of competitive successes, but in terms of how he leads the team. The speeches that the 3 debaters, that Bietz's 3 previous debaters gave, was extremely memorable to me. Not because of the long list of tournament victories. I was actually most impressed by the fact that Jed, Nick, and John didn't talk about how Bietz had led them to countless championships. They talked about the tone that Bietz set for the team, the emphasis that he put on each and every student, and the impact that they felt he had on their lives and on their debate careers. It's easy to define a successful coach by the number of wins that they have accumulated. It's especially easy to do so when that coach has enjoyed as much success as Bietz has. It is much harder, much more valuable, and much more impressive for an incredibly successful coach to be defined by the positive impact that he has had on others. To be able to say that this coach is great, not because of what he has won, although it has been fantastic, but because of how he has won it. Bietz, you are an incredible coach, mentor, and friend, and it has been nothing less than a privilege and an honor to be on your team. Thank you. Almost done, I promise. Tara and Adam, Ben talked about you guys. I love you guys. All right. So just a few things in closing. It was almost exactly 7 years ago that I competed in my first debate tournament. My team went 0-3. In fact, that day, I wanted to quit right there, before the tournament even ended. Dad, thank you very much for making me finish. It's been quite a journey since that first tournament. Debate has defined me over the past 7 years. I've stayed in a lot of courtyard Marriotts, had a few too many 5-hour energy drinks, eaten enough late-night pizza to last a lifetime, and gotten to enjoy some of the greatest moments of my life. And I really do mean that. It's hard to put into words how much debate means to me. All I can say is that I'm grateful for every single round that I've been in. I feel unbelievably lucky to have been exposed to debate, to have been given the opportunities that have been available to me, and to have been coached by as amazing coaches as I have had. But there is one other thing that I'm extremely grateful for, and that is my friend, my debate partner, Ben Sprung-Keyser. Ben, it's been a long time that we've been together, and I think that our relationship is defined not just by the fact that we are constantly bickering, but more importantly by the fact that we get along extremely well in the most important ways. That we, I feel, have an incredible relationship in terms of debate, in terms of the way that we can construct arguments together and think strategically together. But more important than that is the fact that I consider Ben to be one of my very dearest friends. And I know that we may hang out in different social circles sometimes and not always hang out all the time on the weekends. But I really do mean it when I say that it's been the most incredible 7 years that I could have asked for. And thank you for being there, always. Debate. Debate has been an integral part in shaping me into the person that I am today. From driving to Chinatown in San Francisco at 2 in the morning with Bietz, Ben, and Sean Nidell, to working tirelessly into the night in a hotel room strewn with literally thousands of pieces of paper, binders, printers, and timers, the memories that I have of my time in debate mean the world to me. My 4 years on this team, with these coaches, and these teammates, are 4 years that I wouldn't trade for anything in the world. Thank you.
Mike and I wanted to be sure to say, thank you, John Amato. If John, you could stand up, say hello. It's been a real push to make the debate team a part of the full-blown part of Harvard-Westlake. It's kind of been a club. And as we can see, we have more and more folks that are interested, involved, and John has been extremely helpful, many breakfasts here and dinners in a few places, to continue to gain the school's respect and push behind the program. And they've embraced that finally with bringing Mike aboard on a full-time basis. And really, we're not a world unto our own, as I think we all know. And again, John, if you could just, I know I consider John to be one of the founders of Harvard-Westlake, to put the two schools together, which was a real chore, and to keep it all going. And if it wasn't for people like John and the folks at Harvard-Westlake, we wouldn't be here. And this is just the beginning of having a full-blown program and just growing and growing. We'll need a room 4 times, 5 times the size of this 4 years from now. So again, John, just thank you and pass it on to everyone else. We really appreciate it. We know Mike can be a bastard to negotiate with, but and he's good, but we got him here, and we appreciate everyone's support. And just both Mike and I want to be, and all of us and all the parents are just very grateful for the school getting behind this program, because it's not easy. And as you know, our kids miss school a lot. We barely see them. Every 2.5 weeks they're traveling, and they actually do study and eat pizza and learn all the good restaurants in Kansas City. I know you didn't go to that restaurant. I know I get orders from not just Brendan, but the whole group of where they want to eat in particular cities. We make arrangements for them, so they fine dine and debate. So at some point when you get a little older, you're not going to want to do all that traveling, but enjoy it while your bodies can take the beating. So again, thank you, Harvard-Westlake. Thank you, John. Thank you, parents. And let's just continue to work with the school, work with the teachers. When our kids miss a lot of school, and you can report, so your son is doing really well, but it'd be nice if he was in class. We really do need to work with the teachers. And what we didn't do this year, and we forgot, we all kind of get sidetracked, is we do need to have a get-together like this with the teachers and invite the teachers so they know our kids aren't just a bunch of little spoiled kids that travel around the United States and eat at fine restaurants with Bietz. So I think we need to do that. And again, everyone, thank you for your support, and thank you, Harvard-Westlake.
Hi everyone, I'm Mike Bietz, the coach of the program before. Really. Tim mentioned the program growing, and in fact, the Harvard program used to be, and I think for 13 consecutive years, the largest program in the country. Through a connection, we brought as a guest and speaker the first ever captain of the Harvard School Debate Team. His name is Jim Myerson, and he's going to say a few words to give us some perspective about the Harvard team. And so, thank you, Jim.
Students, I promise you it's under 10. Adults, I promise you it's under 10. I must be insane. Why would anyone in their right mind, especially the parent, of a verbal and argumentative Harvard-Westlake 12th grader say anything to a horde of Harvard-Westlake children who compete at being verbal and argumentative? Why me? That's what I asked myself when young Choi asked me to be here tonight. I'm not even the best debater in my family. That would be my dad. In 1941, my father and his partner, a week before Pearl Harbor, won a tournament at LA High, in the last round taking the affirmative position on the proposition that Japan had no military ambition. Moral of the story, don't debate your parents. You usually lose. Actually, I'm here tonight because I had the great good fortune to arrive at Harvard School in 1967 as a 7th grader, the same year as Ted D. Woods joined the faculty. You in this room, students, have renewed, revived, and are restoring to prominence our school's program in forensics. I'm here to offer you a glimpse back to the beginning of the tradition that you carry forward. Mr. Woods was a master strategist. He had a plan, he worked the plan, and the plan worked. He was hired to teach public speaking, then a new course in 1967. And it became a requirement for all 9th grade students at Harvard School. The class was very straightforward. It consisted of 5 units, one for each of 5 types of basic speeches. A speech to inform, a speech to impress, a speech to convince, a speech to gain action, and a speech to entertain. At the end of every unit, every student gave a 5-minute speech that they had written on the type of speech that had been covered in the unit. In the 1969-1970 school year, when I was in the 9th grade, Mr. Woods set his plan into motion. He secured a block in December 1969 of time at the annual Harvard School Mothers Club meeting, which was held in Rugby Hall. To illustrate his class, 5 9th grade students, myself included, delivered speeches to the Mothers Club, covering each of the 5 types of speeches. No mother can resist a 9th grader in a blue blazer giving a speech. No school can resist the will of its Mothers Club. The support necessary to establish forensics program at Harvard School was assured on that day. By the spring of 1970, Harvard had dipped its toe into debate by fielding a colossal 3 teams in local Southern California Forensic Association events. By the fall of 1970, we had an NFL chapter, and Mr. Woods was able to teach debate and advanced debate as regular curriculum courses. Still teaching every 9th grade student. Over time, Mr. Woods could scout every upper school student at Harvard School for Forensic Talent. His introductory speech classes became feeders for a speech and debate program that became truly a national powerhouse. If you could speak well, Mr. Woods was relentless, even irresistible. If researching and preparing evidence cards and writing a first affirmative for the national policy debate topic was too time-consuming for your schedule, he would suggest original oratory. If you didn't want to write an original oratory speech, he would say, use somebody else's, and you would compete in oratorical interpretation. If you did not have the time to practice your speech and oratorical interpretation, impromptu and extemp were probably in your future. In the second full year of the program, the ranks of the team grew to nearly 30. In that 1 year alone, 10 members achieved NFL degree of distinction or higher. 7 qualified for state championships, and our #1 debate team went to nationals. There was, of course, I think, a lot of fun along the way. Following Watergate, it was not surprising that the 1975 national topic for policy debate was resolved that the United States should significantly change the method of selection of presidential and vice presidential candidates. Imagine having Harvard School senior and future Saturday Night Live star John Lovitz as your partner on that one. At its peak, Harvard School had more members in its chapter than any other NFL chapter in the country. This is even more remarkable when you consider that the total number of students in grade 9 to 12 at Harvard School is less than a single grade at Harvard-Westlake today. The program continued to gain momentum. It was so successful that much like an NC2A Division I football coach, Mr. Woods could actually recruit students to apply to Harvard School so they could compete on our team in forensics. Notable among these was David Huang, the Tony Award-winning author of M. Butterfly, who was lured away from San Gabriel High School's debate team in the late 1970s. In the first year of Lincoln Douglas, 1980, at Nationals, Harvard School debater and president of NBC News, Ben Sherwood, took third. In 1983, Greg Dohai's The Ugly Ambassador won Nationals in original oratory. Every year, Harvard School was conspicuous at Nationals by the number of qualifiers and the quality of their contestants. Mr. Woods retired in 1991, which was the first year of complete integration and coeducational instruction at Harvard-Westlake. In that year, he was inducted into the National Forensic League Hall of Fame. In the Constitution of the National Forensic League, which includes its detailed history, his death is actually listed as one of the most significant events in the history of the organization. The only greater testimony to his accomplishments as a teacher is his presence among only 19 others in the 89-year history of Harvard School who have been named Harvard's great teachers. The rostrum, the official newsletter of the National Forensic League, had this to say about Mr. Woods. Ted guided the Harvard School program to a golden age, where Harvard was the largest NFL chapter in the nation for 13 years. Ted coached 89 students to the Nationals, including 2 National Congress champions, an original oratory champion, runners-up in Congress, oratory, drama, expository, and a score of semifinalists and finalists. Harvard won the National Student Congress sweepstakes in 1982. Under Ted's direction, Harvard earned 448 national sweepstakes points. Harvard School dominated West Los Angeles NFL District by winning NFL District sweepstakes plaque 13 times and the district trophy 3 times. Harvard School has also had several All-American speech point leaders. During Ted's tenure as coach, 85% of the Harvard School student body became NFL members. Ted himself earned a remarkable 31,600 coaching points. P.S. That's still the record today.
Wow.
If Ted were still around, I am certain that nothing would keep him from standing where I am. He would have related, I'm sure, many vastly more interesting and amusing stories than I can. He was far wittier and a far better speaker. At his retirement party, I asked him what he felt were the most valuable skills he taught his debaters. His answer surprised me. He said that if they learned the most valuable skills that debating can offer, they didn't learn it from him. They would have had to learn it themselves. My quizzical look caused him to continue. In debate, he said, you are forced to sit silently and listen intently as another person advances a position to which you are directly opposed. You then have the opportunity in cross-examination to ask clarifying questions of the person with whom you will disagree with in your speech. Based on their speech and your cross-acts, you have to consider the best way to advance exactly the opposite position, while they are forced to sit silently and listen to you. The trick, Mr. Woods said, is to transfer the subliminal teachings of the process into life, both personally and professionally. To respectfully listen to others without interruption, even if you are in complete disagreement. To ask pertinent questions, to be certain that you completely understand the substance and the sentiment of what was said. To then express your own view respectfully, but to the point, and to be open to questions of clarification as was afforded to you. The greatest skills, he concluded, were not associated with speaking well or winning a debate. They were the capacity to listen to others, to think before you speak, and to show respect even when you wholly disagree with another person. I have just one final thing to say, and this I address to the team at Bronx Science in New York. We are back. We are bad. We are going to take trophies. Go Wolverines!
For that, when I came to Harvard-Westlake, I knew that there was this tradition of great debate, and everyone who knew that I had gone to Harvard-Westlake, the coaches from that are much older and have been around much longer than I have, were very excited to see the program reinvigorated, and it's nice to have a connection to Ted Woods. And today I was in preparation for Jim coming. I was looking through old issues of the rostrum that are now online, and I was just marveling at the accomplishments of them, and actually quite humbled by the accomplishments of the program back then. I just wanted to say some thank yous to conclude the presentations for the evening. I wanted to thank Tim and Kathy for putting on this event. If everyone could give them these are the sorts of things that I don't really think about doing, and with the prodding of parents, we always seem to have a great event that happens, and so I wanted to thank them for that. And then through the year, you know, I can't do what I do without the support, the counsel of other debate parents, Paula and Bruce Bennett, Young and Paul Troy, and then of course Paula and Don and Adele. I wanted to thank them publicly too for all of their support, advice, and so on throughout the year. Two other sets of parents I wanted to thank, the Sprung-Keisers and the Sonenbergs. I'm going to say I'm going to miss you, but hopefully you don't go away, and specifically to Chris and Glenn, that your wives let you continue to help the program. Otherwise I will miss the text messages throughout the tournament where I can't even keep up because both of you are texting me about how things are going and who the judges are and what side are we on and how's the speech going and what the records are and so on. I'll miss that next year, and I hope that it'll continue. And certainly your counsel has been invaluable this year. I learned so much from both of you, and as a coach and as someone that needs to think outside of just what it means to be on the debate team, but also how to relate that to parents and to the administration and at the school and even to kids. And so thank you so much. This year would not have been what it was without both of you. So thank you. I wanted to thank my assistant coaches. Every year, I never know who's going to be back to be an assistant coach because they all move on to do better things than coaching debate. They have lives, and I'm left sort of wondering and have to go through these abandonment issues every single year. So first, I wanted to thank Tara and Adam. I know that Tara just recently got a job for next year, so she'll be back in less of a capacity, so congratulations, but thank you so much. This team, you have been along with, I've been with it, and it's not at all, it would not have happened without you around, so thank you so much. Adam, I don't know what to say. I mean, I've known Adam Torson for as long as I've known anyone in this room. I've known him since the early 2000s, and he was a debate coach at Hopkins High School, Minnesota, and he came and worked for me at Victory Briefs, and last year I think that I asked him to help out with the TOC, I think it was, because there were some issues that about the law specifically that if you don't know this, Adam is a law school graduate and is trying to find a law job in North Dakota instead of just moving out and doing what he really wants to do, which is coach debate at Harvard-Westlake. And then from there, it just became so natural that the kids loved him, that we could count on him to research issues that we were not necessarily ready to debate on, to help with casing ideas, to really do a lot of the hard work that debate takes. I mean, it's easy for me because I do a lot of just thinking and pontificating, but when something has to get done, we look to Adam to really put the pieces together, and for that, it's invaluable, so thank you very, very, very much. I wanted to talk a little bit about the team too. Obviously, we're here to celebrate you guys, and this team. It never stopped amazing me. How great it is to watch all of you work together and grow and support each other, and it's been an amazing year. We went to the Long Beach tournament this year with 29 debaters, most of whom were ninth graders, and you know, every year I usually expect at least a 80% attrition because debate is hard, and the draws of other activities and other things to do mean that a lot of kids quit, but not this team. I mean, we continued to field huge teams, and so I'm humbled by how much debate seems to mean to you and how much you dedicate to debate and that it is important to you. The year started off so well, and it continued to get so good by all of you, and you guys were winning tournaments and winning a lot of debate rounds, and I actually stopped sending results to the school because, well, for one, I think they probably got tired of hearing all the success because it was so much. I think I even described a few tournaments as absurdly successful, where it wouldn't make sense that we could have so many kids do so well, and that's truly a testament to all of you. And the other reason I stopped sending results is because I didn't want them to think that debate was so easy, because debate's not easy. Debate is hard, and you all work so hard. I think one of the things I really try to emphasize is that the talent that you have, the advantages that you have, can only take you so far, but the fact that you continue to work is more a testament to your character and hard work than it is to any talent that you were born with or any privilege that you might have. The fact that there are thousands and thousands of debaters who have the same talent, who have the same advantage, but it's your hard work that has paid off this year, and I'm really, really looking forward to working with all of you the next few years.